Rachel wasn't having a day any different from the others when it all began. It was a gray Wednesday, the kind that seemed to blur even thoughts. It was cold in Albany, New York, and the wind cut through the gaps in the bus window she took every day at 6:45 a.m. She was 23, studying psychology at night and cleaning houses during the day to pay the bills. She lived alone in a cramped studio, no luxuries, but with the peace she cherished after growing up in shelters. That day, as always, she laced up her worn-out boots, tied her hair into a loose bun, and grabbed her cleaning kit before heading out. The first house on her list was the mansion of John Nicholson, a reserved executive she barely saw, but who paid well. The job was weekly, and she had already memorized the cold, silent rooms of the house like someone learning the map of a place where you weren't supposed to make too much noise. The strange thing was, that day she felt something odd as soon as she stepped inside, as if she'd, intruded on a space that didn't want to be disturbed. The house was as quiet as ever, but the air felt heavier, the stillness more tense than calm. John wasn't there, as usual, and the same note as always sat on the kitchen counter. Focus on the guest room and office today. Thanks. Rachel started with the guest room, vacuuming the carpet and wiping the baseboards. Everything was routine until, while dusting near the wall opposite the bed, she noticed one of the floorboards made a hollow sound. When stepped on, like something was loose beneath it. Her heart beat a little faster, not from fear, but curiosity. She knelt, pressed the wood with her fingers, and using the tip of a screwdriver from her bag, pried the loose board up. What she saw underneath wasn't money or jewelry. It was a folded, yellowed sheet of paper, creased at the corner. Rachel lifted it carefully, as if handling something too fragile to rush. When she unfolded it, her stomach dropped. It was a child's drawing, made with colored pencils. A simple house, 2 stick figures holding hands, a man and a girl, and in the bottom corner, tiny, shaky handwriting, "Daddy, I love you. I miss you. I hope you find me one day." The name Stacy was scribbled at the top, with a red heart beside it. The handwriting and innocent strokes made it clear this had been drawn by a young child. But what struck Rachel hardest was the raw longing in those words. She froze for seconds, knees on the floor, breath caught. It felt like she'd uncovered something that wasn't meant to be found, like touching an old, hidden wound. She stood slowly, holding the drawing with both hands, and scanned the room as if expecting more clues. But the space remained cold, impersonal, with no trace of family history. Curiosity gnawed at her, but so did discomfort, like she'd trespassed into something too intimate. Rachel knew John Nicholson had a missing daughter. News still surfaced now and then, always with the same photo of a smiling little girl with bright eyes. But no one talked much about it. It was one of those cases wrapped in silence, as if time itself had swept it under the rug. Now, this paper felt like a whisper from the past, a plea buried beneath the house's floors. And Rachel, without even knowing why, felt she had to do something. She finished cleaning distracted, the drawing burning in her mind. She tucked it into her bag's inner pocket, not to hide it, but because she didn't yet know what to do with it. When she left, the sky had lightened, but the unease clung to her. On the bus, she kept glancing at her bag as if it might spill some hidden truth. At college, between classes, she caved and searched her phone. Stacy Nicholson missing. The girl's face appeared. Same sweet smile, straight hair, watchful eyes. Below the photo, a brief summary. Missing since 2016. Last seen with mother, Catherine Walters. The name made Rachel shiver. She remembered cleaning another apartment years ago with that name on mail. Rundown place, abandoned since, in the same neighborhood as John's mansion. A chill crawled up her spine. Everything felt crookedly connected, like puzzle pieces tossed haphazardly. She took a deep breath, heart racing. This wasn't just coincidence. She'd found something important, and now she couldn't pretend otherwise. That night, Rachel came home too unsettled to eat or focus. She laid the drawing on her kitchen table, studying every line. The paper smelled faintly of mildew but wasn't torn, as if someone had stored it carefully. Then she noticed something new. In the bottom corner, almost invisible, was a penciled mark, 4B32CH, like a code. A child wouldn't write that alone. Had Stacy had help, or was there more here than she thought? The next morning, she woke before her alarm. By 5:27 a.m., she was dressed and out the door. She knew John left early for work. She waited until his black car turned the corner, then slipped inside through a loose window she'd left unlatched weeks ago. The house smelled of wax and old books. She went straight to the guest room. The floorboard was still loose, but nothing else was underneath, just dust. Kneeling, she ran her fingers along the edges of the gap, then scanned the room anew. Behind a slightly dull patch of paint on the wall, she found a shallow compartment. Inside, a small wooden box held a torn teddy bear and a child's star-shaped necklace. Rachel's hands shook. She recognized that bear. It had been in the news years ago. One of Stacy's toys from the day she vanished. John's reaction at his office was visceral. He traced the drawing's lines like they were scars. When Rachel told him about the apartment, the neighbor's account of a crying girl, his voice broke. She was still waiting for me. They drove there in silence. The building was decrepit, the pink-walled bedroom still holding traces of a child's presence. John knelt, touching the floor as if absorbing its history. If this is real, I can still find her, he whispered. And if you help me, I won't give up. Weeks later, their search led to a rural orphanage. Records showed a girl named Anna Beatrice, with Stacy's eyes. When they arrived, a reserved girl with a crooked ponytail stood in the doorway. "Stacy?" John asked, voice cracking. The girl stared. "Are you real?" John collapsed to his knees, sobbing. She ran into his arms. Later, Stacy asked if he'd gotten her drawings. He showed her the folded paper. "I left them for you to find," she said, softly. "But I thought you never would." The legal process took weeks, but this time John did it right. Rachel helped with every step. Stacy, though shy, bonded with her, showing her a notebook of letters she'd written to her father, just in case he was alive. Rachel understood. For the first time, she felt part of something bigger than herself. When they finally brought Stacy home, the mansion slowly transformed. The sterile rooms warmed with drawings, laughter, and the smell of baking. Rachel, though not officially living there, became a steady presence. One evening, John found her in the garden. "You came into our lives by chance," he said, "but you're part of it now, not just for helping me find Stacy. You brought us back to life." He took her hand. "Stay, as family." Rachel hesitated, but when she looked at him, at this man who'd rebuilt his life piece by piece, she nodded. Months later, they founded Unquentreme, a fund to help reunite missing children with families. Stacy designed posters, Rachel navigated the system, and John provided resources. Their first success reunited 3 families. One day, Stacy left a new drawing on the fridge. 3 stick figures now, holding hands. At the bottom, one line, "Now they've found me." John read it silently, then hugged Rachel from behind. She didn't speak, just smiled.